Good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Table on Air, your primary source for learning about what's new, what's happening, and what's what in Black LGBTQ culture. For those that don't know, I'm your host, Darius, and I thank you for showing up to this space. We're about to get real, a little deep, and maybe a little teary, but we're going to have some fun, so stick around for the ride. We have another special guest joining us today from the film industry, but for now, here's the latest and greatest in this week's Black Report. So, lately I've been doing a lot of thinking about life in general. You know, where I've been, what I've done, what I'm doing, I guess. And honestly, I'm proud of me. I've been through a lot of crazy things, and I'm sure other folks have too. But life ain't always easy, child. And it's okay to be proud of what you've been through and what you've done. Now, I'm still learning how to do that, giving myself grace and whatnot. But I say this here and now because I want you and whoever else is listening to also just stop and tell yourself that you're proud of you because you deserve it. And speaking of what our community deserves, let's get into the recap for the week. Because I don't know about y'all, but I love being proud of my people. So first and foremost, let's talk Queen Latifah before we get any further. One of the greatest of TV and film, the greatest of the hair game, okay, because the wigs be laid, and clearly one of the greatest of the music industry. Earlier this year, the Queen was recognized as the first female rapper inducted into the National Recording Registry. And I'm not even in the business yet, but I know how much of an honor this is for music artists. Now and forever, let's never forget to give Queen Latifah her flowers because she really is one of the first and greatest to ever do a lot of things. That's just how it is sometimes as a Black queer person. You become the first to do a lot. Someone else who has become the first to do things is Judge Jamal K. Walker. Did you know that he recently became the first openly gay federal judge in Virginia and the 4th Congressional District? Yeah, neither did I until I just told you. It's crazy to think that it's 2023 and we're still becoming the first to do things, but hey, I'm not for real mad at it. I guess it's just our time to shine. And you know what? Speaking of shining, I got some more good news for us. Kokomo City, the documentary about 4 Black trans women, directed by D. Smith and executive produced by the Lena Waithe, won the Audience Award at the Berlin Film Festival. It stood out so much amongst the crowd that it even won them the Adobe Innovators Prize. Now, it does hurt my heart that Rashida Williams, one of the women featured in the award-winning documentary, has passed away. But I hope that this piece in history continues to help her legacy live on. Take some time now to think about the people you've lost in life and the people still in your life. Think about why you're grateful for them and why you're proud of them, and tell them that if you can, because they deserve to hear it. And as much as Black LGBTQ people deserve to be remembered for who they were, they also deserve to be supported in who they currently are. So support them, period. That's a wrap on our Black Report with the QUE. And until next week, keep finding ways to celebrate yourself. Joining us today, we have a special guest. We have filmmaker, film festival organizer, executive producer, political consultant, nonprofit leader, board member, and executive director of Black Alphabet, the home to Chicago's first Black LGBTQ plus film festival, Adam McMath. Welcome, my friends, to the table.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. I'm glad to have you here in this space with us to kind of talk a lot more about, what you've been able to do in your work, in your life, to be able to give you some flowers and celebrate a lot of those moments. Sometimes we don't always have them, to shine the light on. So I want to be able to do that today and to be able to shine the light on what you've been able to do.
Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Well, we can get right into it because I know you have a lot of great experience that I want to be able to share, with our audience and for them to know all about what you are doing. So to kind of start us off, I know that you've been filmmaking for a while. So can you take us through a little bit more about what that journey has looked like from you, from, getting started and getting interested in things to where you are now?
Sure. So I want to start by crediting my parents because when I came to them when I was 18, at the time. My dad's an architect. My mom owns a chain of daycares, and they're both retired now. But at the time, they both wanted me to go into one of the family businesses.
But I was not filmmaking.
Which was not film school, which was not film. And the biggest question at the time was, how are you going to make money doing this? But they were open enough to let me go to film school, and then thereafter let my sister go to fashion school, and kind of let us take our own paths. So it started there. I came to Chicago from St. Louis and went to Columbia College Chicago, like a lot of film folks in Chicago do.
Columbia's pretty popular.
Yeah, but much nicer now than what it was when I was there.
You think?
I went to speak at an event in Columbia a couple months ago, and they have a DJ in the student center and all that stuff now. Didn't have that when I started in 2000, but so I started there. I was lucky enough to get an assistant role with the assistant director of the film department at the time, Rick Koken, who was a sound, in charge of sound on films like Home Alone at the time and all that stuff. So really took me under his wing and got me on the sets that would not have gotten on to otherwise, and really started my career that way. Did a lot of stuff on Hollywood sets, both in Chicago, LA, and other cities, and then realized I didn't want to tell those stories. Like none of those people at the time looked like me. There were no Black queer people in any of the stories at the time, and if they were kind of the joke of the story. So I really pulled back and came back to Chicago.
I'm sure that took a lot to take a step back from the work that you were doing to become a little more focused.
It did, but it didn't, because Hollywood sets are political. They're extremely long hours, 14, 15, 16-hour days sometimes, especially if you're not the director or producers or actors. So it was kind of a scary step back, because Hollywood is more lucrative. So I came back to Chicago, started doing corporate film, which is very lucrative, but again, will suck your soul. And then started to really work with friends on their films. I directed a film called Misunderstood, which was about masculine associated lesbians, that came out in about 2012 at this point. It was a really low budget documentary.
You gotta start somewhere though, right?
Yeah, exactly. I shot it in my living room.
What?
And it went all over the world, which was a shock. And
that's dope. Congratulations.
Thank you. And the first time I showed it was at the first annual Black Alphabet Film Festival, which is how I found out about the film festival. So,
shameless plug. That's crazy. That's that full circle moment, how they came back for you, and now seeing what you're continuing to able to do with them. It's amazing to see.
So that's how I ended up, next year I ended up joining the team at Black Alphabet Film Festival and moved it forward from there.
So throughout the work that you've been able to do in both, your own personal life, throughout Hollywood, coming back to Chicago, and the more corporate film realm, what out of that, continued to inspire you to do what you were doing and to tell more of those authentic stories? Sure.
So there's this narrative going around, particularly in Hollywood, that says only 12 stories have ever been told.
What are those 12? Curious.
So it's essentially the same tropes, retooled, remixed, and put back out there. I think Liam Neeson plays the same character once a year, every year. So I didn't want to tell those stories anymore. I thought those stories were kind of, not of me and not authentic to me. So I was inspired by people that I moved around with in Chicago, chosen family in Chicago. I did a music video for a drag queen at the time that was pretty well known in Chicago, called Scion Flair. And I saw the power of what filmmaking can do with just doing that pro bono music video shoot for Scion. That music video was all over Asia, all over the country, all over clubs all over the country.
You got a lot of credibility there.
That stuff kind of, yes, and then it was on MTV for a while. So that kind of stuff kind of pushed me to really continue to do the work the way I wanted to do the work, and not necessarily go after money, but go after the vision, and then the money comes.
Yeah, and even in those moments, like, you're still telling those authentic stories, which in my opinion is valuable enough, you know, to society and to the impact that you're leaving, being able to create, and not just for yourself, but also create with other people, and to be able to bring other people into that mission and to, you know, what that collective impact continues to look like and grow into. Right. It's beautiful.
Right, and anybody that does a collective artistic experience knows that that's a family. Yeah. In a tight knit, you will fight, you will love, and you will, you know, complete the mission together.
A lot of trauma bonding happening.
Yeah, and then you're bonded together forever. And I love that experience. And I mean, I've been on many sets, and I have chosen families from each of the sets, and I think that's part of the reason why I keep doing that work. And through the work that I'm doing now with nonprofits and whatnot, trying to bring other people that have the talent, don't necessarily have the resources in, so they can experience the same thing as me.
Yeah, I love that. Can you talk about that a little bit more, about the work that you're doing with nonprofits, especially with Black Alphabet being, you know, this very iconic and historic community and space for people that are interested in film and engaging in the arts, you know, around Chicago? What does that continue to look like for you supporting that mission? Sure.
So Black Alphabet in particular has changed drastically since I've started to run the organization. I think I started running the organization about 7 years ago. And originally the film festival, it was just a film festival. That was the only program that we did. And really, you know, create a community around people coming into a room and seeing themselves on screen. Right before the pandemic, I produced and edited a film with Daryl Stevens and Samson McCormick in it. And I wanted to show that film.
Two iconic figures.
Very iconic. And I had a easy connection with Samson. I was managing him at the time, so I really wanted to bring that film to Chicago. And Miss Laura was in it, so we had a lot of, and it was really a story about Samson's life and his experience with his mom. And I wanted to bring that film to Chicago during Mental Health Awareness Month, which we're in now, and have a discussion about how trauma in the family impacts Black gay people, in this case, Black gay men. And that experience, I think we had about 120 people show up to an event that was supposed to have 100 people at it, but I digress.
It's hard getting people out to.
It really is, and it was a rainy day, and you know Chicago. You know how Chicago is, and we had a lot of folks come out to that event. We had Daryl come, we had Samson come, and we had a psychologist on a panel that I hosted. And what I noticed during that event was most people had questions for the psychologist. So that informed me that I could shift and leverage art to address things that disproportionately impact our community: mental health, HIV/AIDS, any other health disparity that you could think of that impacts us. So that's the direction Black Alphabet's kind of going in now. We still have the film festival, but as you know, we as a board member, I forgot to mention that.
Shameless plug.
As a board member, you know, but we have art therapy sessions, free art therapy sessions for youth, adults, and seniors.
Y'all can sign up for those now.
Please do. And just before I got here, when this isn't airing before next Tuesday, right? No?
May.
Okay, May. Okay, good. So we just got a large grant for a space from the city, which Lori Lightfoot, our current mayor, will announce on Tuesday. So all of these things are for the community, for artists or non-artists to come in and create, have a space to and an outlet to be better people and to be a part of community.
I'm Hugo Balta, host of the podcast 3 Questions With. Since August of 2022, Chicago has given sanctuary to over 8,000 migrants.
They want to give back. They want to work. They want to pay their taxes. They want to be productive members. They don't want a handout.
Join us on Wednesdays at 7:30 in the evening via Channel 19, streaming on cantv.org and the Can TV Plus app.
I also, and I don't know if you know this, I also am a executive director of a production company.
Oh, wow. No, I did not know that.
Production company in Oakland.
Let's talk about it.
That produces films about the Black queer experience, but mostly we produce films about the Harlem Renaissance. And so it's very interesting being a part of that organization. It's called Sugar Films, that really produces stuff about Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Langston, all of those folks. And doing period pieces on a micro budget is really fascinating, interesting, exciting.
Yeah.
And the last film that we did, Billy Porter narrated the film Smoke, Lilies, and Jade. So really a lot of stuff like that is really what keeps me coming back, because there are people like Billy Porter that will jump in on a micro budget film and do a favor for people that he likes.
To amplify those voices.
Exactly. So there's a lot of work going on, and I kind of forget what I'm doing at times. I have people around me to help me keep organized. There's a lot of exciting things for Black Alphabet that, coming up. We have somebody piloting our program in Kenya.
Exciting.
As of last week.
Wow.
So a lot of great things. We have Cincinnati next month, as you know. So yeah, it's a lot of interesting things. I think Black Alphabet's the only Black LGBTQ film festival running in the country still. There's one in Atlanta, but it's connected to Black Pride. So I hope that we have more pop up, because we are here. And I look at our community as really the parents. I don't want to say godfather or godmother, but the parents of culture. A lot of culture comes from our community, and I think it's time for us to really amplify that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's important for us to continue to reiterate, one, how often, these experiences and events are happening around the city and the nation, because not many people know about them. So we want to get the word out so that we can get more people from our community at these events, but also just important for us to talk about it and to celebrate the fact that these things are happening, like all the work that you're doing, all the work that Black Alphabet's doing, all the work that these other organizations and production companies are doing to bring light to the experiences and the stories and the history of what Black, queer, trans, and non-binary culture looks like. It's vital. And it brings much more emphasis to the work that we're doing, and highlighting, the importance of other people to come in next to us and behind us to continue this work. So I'm glad that, you've been able to do so many great things and create so many opportunities, not just for yourself, but for other people that are coming, next to you and behind you to also be able to do the same thing.
Thank you. And I just want to mention that it is collective. It's not just me. I do love collaboration. I never want to work in a silo. And I also want to point out that, one of the things that the founders of Black Alphabet came across is the 10th year this year.
A lot of things to celebrate.
Yeah, it's a big year. So,
it is.
Is that it's not a competition. We are not competing with Reeling, which is the oldest LGBTQ film festival, second oldest in the country, oldest in Chicago. We actually partner with them quite a bit. They do a lot of cross promotion with us as we do them. So I really want us to come together as a community. If somebody else starts a Black LGBTQ film festival, great, I'll help you.
Let's do this together.
Let's just do it together. It's not a competition. It's not who's better, who's right, who's wrong. It's about let's come together and build something for people that come after us.
Yeah, I agree. So thinking about the importance of this platform and these stories, what does Black queerness mean to you, and how does that continue to show up in your work?
Sure. So it really means, for me, it means community, and it means chosen family. I am lucky enough to have a fantastic relationship with my parents and family, but I have an amazing connection with my chosen family, and I found that chosen family through art and just being in the community. So that's what it really means to me, and I think we really help each other survive. I have a great friend who's significantly older than me. I think he's in his mid 70s, and we talk every day. And it's a real chosen friendship. and we bounce off each other. Sometimes I have an issue that he helps me solve, and vice versa. And I think it's those type of relationships that really mean community and Black LGBTQ to me.
Yeah, and we don't have that enough, having those older figures in our lives to be able to mentor us or give us insight, on how they have lived and how we can, make those experiences and outcomes better for us, or even just to have a sounding partner, like you said, somebody just to talk to and vent to maybe, or just to have some similar, conversations with. I'm glad that you have that, and I hope that more people are able to find that in our community. So if you are someone older looking to reach out, find someone that you can connect with. If you are someone younger who is looking, for that inspiration or someone to vibe with, essentially, make that connection. But it's important, so I'm glad that that's continuing to happen.
Yeah, I think it's vital to the survival of our community and people in the community.
Yeah, I agree. So thinking about, what that older figure has looked like for you, has there been anything in your life that you may have struggled with, to overcome in the beginning, but now looking back on it, it has brought you a lesson or something that you've learned from?
Sure. So being my authentic self has always been a struggle for me. People see me in the community all the time, and they're like, he's out. And I mean, to this day, and this is something that is in the back of my mind, I pick and choose who I tell a lot of my outness or my queer stories to. And
thank you for sharing space with me today.
Oh, absolutely. And it's actually interesting because Harvey Milk used to say, come out of the closet. He basically wanted everybody to come out of the closet. And for us, that there could be some violence associated with that, or other harmful things associated with that. So it's a little bit different for everybody. So I don't necessarily struggle with it with my family or anything like that, but that's not the first thing that I put out there when I meet new people. Right. It's something that I have to invite them into and trust them enough to share that with. Yeah. Most people say, oh, well, and most people in the community be like, oh, they assume. Trust me. I'm like, no, actually, you'd be surprised. Yeah. Most people don't assume with me. So that's something that I think most of us have struggled with. So that's something that I'm still gradually working on. It's putting my whole self out there. And that's something that even when I worked in corporate America, something we didn't talk about today, part of our diversity and inclusion strategy is, will everybody be able to bring their whole self to work? And most of the time people can't. So, I think that's a universal struggle, but nonetheless, it's still a struggle for me.
Yeah, I agree, and I resonate with that so much because I too, have had those experiences where I didn't feel like I could show up, whether that was to work or even to family events or different things like that, feeling like I can, show up as my full authentic self, and that has been a constant thing. I wouldn't say a struggle. Some days it might be a struggle, but it's something that I'm constantly working on, learning how to continue to show up as my full authentic self in a lot of these spaces. So thank you for showing up as your full authentic, transparent self here with me today, being able to share a lot of these stories with our people. I hope that they truly have heard and resonated with what you said and have felt it, so that they can continue to share these moments, these gems, these reflection pieces with their peers and continue to do the same thing. And hopefully the work that we're doing continues to grow and expand and people really see the impact of our community. So thank you so much, Adam, for joining us today and for, again, bringing this light to our space, to the table. Y'all, if y'all have not felt the light today, the light is here. So thank you so much, Adam, for wrapping us up and for bringing so much of your light into our world.
Thank you. And Darius, thank you for having me.
No problem. For now, you all, we're going to jump to our open space, an opportunity for us to let go, be free, and just live. Stick around for the vibes. All right. So today's game is called This or That. It's going to go one or the other way. So I'm going to give you 2 different options. You can let me know which one you're feeling a little bit more of.
Okay.
All right? It's going to be real simple, real cute, real fun, real quick. All right? So, bowling or basketball?
Basketball.
Really?
Yep. Played varsity all 4 years of high school.
Wow. Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Skating or skateboarding?
Skating.
Okay. Have you been a skater?
I've skated. I probably wouldn't do it
You're not a
often,
skater.
but definitely not skateboarding.
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel that same. Crossword puzzle or a Sudoku?
Crossword puzzle.
What's your favorite?
The New York Times crossword puzzle, because I can never get it done.
Yeah. The newspaper ones are always the most difficult.
Yep.
Coloring or painting?
Okay, this has changed. Probably painting now.
It changed from when you were younger.
Yeah, I used to love coloring, but now painting is therapeutic for me. So.
Yeah, it is. Art therapy.
Yep, exactly.
Let's plug. Reading or listening to music?
Ooh, now that's tough. I'm gonna go with reading because I'm a voracious reader and I like to learn. So reading.
Same here. About the same way. Lastly, sleeping or watching TV?
Watching TV.
You'll choose watching TV over sleep?
Yeah, I don't sleep a lot. I sleep like maybe 5 hours a night. Maybe, yeah.
Okay, same here. I feel like that's enough time.
That's
honestly.
enough, yeah.
As an adult, my body just wakes me up.
I'm not growing anymore, so it's fine.
Yeah, it is what it is. Well, that's all that we have today. So thank you for joining us for this game. It was fun to me. Hopefully, it was.
No, it was
fun
not. That was great.
Get a little bit more information and insight into who you are. A little bit more character. We love to bring some more character to the people. But thank you again, Adam, for joining us here at the table, bringing all that you have, your transparency, your authenticity, and your whole self to this space with us to be able to share your light with the rest of the world. We'll be back next week, you all, with more Black queer folks being represented at the table. But until then, peace out.